It is I, Menace Snowdecker, and welcome back to another YouTube video of BeyBlade Land. I got on here and I decided I was just going to trim off a lot of the excess light gray concrete that I was using here, because it was just getting in the way and it was throwing me off. It was making it look awful. While I was at it, I deleted the 3 little nubs that were underneath here for the time being, because I don't have the top section accurate. I'm aware of that. I don't have that accurate yet. And having them underneath was just throwing me off. And I want to get the basic sword layer design built first before I focus on those 3 little nubs, because those are just small. I can just add those on afterward. But this one's taking a lot longer than I honestly thought it should have. These X-Beys are quite complex, even when they're not supposed to be. Speaking of which, I see another error that I made. This is exactly why I got on here to edit. That part should be hollow. All the way through. Roughly to about there. I see, so the blue meets the metal. So something like that. My goal today is to try to get the basic line work for the 3 swords done. I'm not going to get the full shaping. I'm aware of that. I'll work on that later. For now, though, I just want to get the basic shaping. That's all I want to do. I want to get it done, and I want to move on. That's all I want to do. Okay, so let's see here. Let's start with this one right here. Let's get that fully shaped out. It curves around. It kind of reminds me of a bee stinger, actually, with the design work. How people usually think about it at first glance. It's not actually shaped like one. So it's going to end right about there. But it's not going to go out that far. 2 should be enough to cover it. I miss Bedrock so much. It was so much easier to build in Bedrock. Why is it Java has better mods, but Bedrock has better settings and actual building skills? Even PvP skills are better in Bedrock. I don't care what you tell me. Having the ability to hold a gun and a sword in Java means nothing to me. Bedrock's where it's at. I don't care. Personalized preference of experienced opinion. I don't care. I miss Bedrock so much. Why did I do all this in Java? Don't judge me. I'm an oldie. I'm old school. You're free to have your own opinions, just don't hate me for it. Does that part rotate? Yes, it does. Okay. One of the interesting things about the X-Beys is the whole top actually rotates. So lining it up one way will completely change it the other way when you try doing that again. Let's see, so if it goes about there, then this will actually move over. I'm going to estimate right there. And then it'll build across. I feel like I'm typing for school paper. That seems about right. I'll focus on the actual sides in just a moment. Let's just build this up first. I was focusing on the actual curvature. Okay, so there's a small hole there. But then it goes down. No, it's sharper. It's sharper than that. And it angles inward. So like that. Yeah, that seems pretty close. And these swords are very thick because they're used for solid attacks. So I need to beef up these sides a bit more. Okay, that's a tad closer, but I'm still missing something here. Okay, so that comes forward. And right where this gap is, it looks like it branches off slightly, almost like a miniature hook. If I had to form a sideways stairs, I'd use it, but I do not have that. But instead of leaving a full-on gap, it branches off into the sword. I don't have anything I could probably use for that. That's a lot of metal for something so small. It's funny because the whole middle is basically plastic and it's just the outside that's metal. Okay, let's see. That seems close. I don't know why, but my face is really itchy right now. I can't explain it. I'm just trying not to scratch because it looks really unprofessional on the video. Okay, so if I keep that at 2, And then I drop it down to 3 about there. No, tad further. Yeah, about there. I think I've gone out just a little bit too far. I can't tell fully, though. Actually, no, that is shockingly right. Even though that makes absolutely no sense to me. So that little hole stays there. This area will branch off into one of the nubs, and then one of them over here, about right there, will branch off into another nub. So I'm just going to mark these for the areas so I know later on that this is where I'll be moving them. Doesn't got to be pretty, just has to get the point across. So the metal here stays thin on the outer edge. So we're just going to keep it like that. It stays exactly like that. Then right around there, at least I'm assuming. Yeah, right there. It branches off with the plastic, the very clear see-through plastic, and then it goes upward and almost like a trapezoid design. Actually, no, I'm a tad off. Yeah, so about there. It lines up with this very small portion where there's a small bit of design work built into it. Kind of reminds me of a zucchini knife, actually. It's a very certain type of cutting for a blade. But it's built inward, and it's not sharp, and it's angled toward the plastic. So you can't really harm yourself. And then that actually goes all the way through, so I need to dig that one more. Or one more after that, that's fine too, or I could just make that all blue and leave it like that. This is complex. I don't have the blocks I need to do this. And to alter it further, I would need mods, and I'm not adding mods. I'm doing this within the limitations of Minecraft itself. I'm not taking it any farther than that. Okay, that works. Yeah, and then the nub would line up right there. So that all checks out. However, based on this, I think I just dug all that for nothing. Gosh dang it! Yeah, okay, like that. I know I'm not the best builder in the world. I'm just trying to do the best I normally can. With my own experience, my own intellect, what I have. Okay, so that'll work. Man, that looks fat, but I'm going to trim it down later. Don't worry. I have a plan. It's not going to look great at first, but I do have a plan, and I'm going to edit this more and more as time goes on. Speaking of which, I need to increase that thickness by 1. You know what, actually, if I move this over... Yeah, it looks a little bit better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the basic for the thickness of the swords done, and then once I have all that done, I'm going to go back out and I'm going to trim all this down and start angling it like that, and that'll give me the shapes I need. That's what I'm doing right now. It is no different than how they make a knife in the beginning. It starts off as a gigantic fat chunk of metal, and then they just start hammering it out, getting the basic shape, then they start sharpening it. It's the exact same process I'm doing right now, just with blocks. So we now have one side. And I just got to do this 2 more times. Okay, so that's that side. Now we do the same thing there. So this one will go about here. The part that I don't like is these angles. When you try to build angles in Minecraft with squares, you always end up with these really bizarre shapes that you don't fully intend to have. And it's just bad sometimes, it really is. You know what it is you're trying to make, you just can't exactly recreate that. Sometimes you make it too small and you gotta make it bigger, sometimes you make it too big and it just looks bad. What they try to do is they try to overcompensate for that. So if you build something like this, and you're trying to build it to go that way, not fully straight, you have to angle it like that. But then they think it looks too thin sometimes, so what they try to do is they try to thicken it up like this. And compared to a straight line, you can see the difference is quite apparent. One's fat, the other's skinny. That's kind of what I'm going through right now. I just have to trust in myself and pray that I'm getting all this right the first time around. Okay, so that one angles 2. Based on that, though, you just barely see the frame, so that's fine. I don't need to touch that. But I do need to extend it outward. So in other words, I'm off by a hair. And that metal should actually go... Yeah, you should only just be able to barely see it. The actual frame inside the gapping. And then this branches out. But it's longer than that. So I'm gonna put one here, And then put another one there. That'll compensate for that one. That one looks thick enough, so that one's fine. I just need to extend it. Every small change I make here is being calculated based on what I did and what I still need to do. So that works. I hooked it just a little bit too far last time. And then we thicken up the blade by 2 more. And because that's also going to have to curve inward later and outward, I'm just going to extend that just a hair. Same with this one. Trust the process, okay? Just trust the process. I am a professional builder. I've literally built Star Destroyers in Minecraft before. I know what I'm doing. It's going to look weird at first. It's going to look weird and bizarre. But as time goes on, it's going to look better and better. I promise. No, too blocky. More angle. Better. Much better. Okay, that'll make up the second blade. Actually, no. Thicken that further. Because I still need to add that spot. That one goes right above the skull. Yeah, about right there. And then add in just 2 more. Dang it, come on. There you go. Just to get that feel. Now we do the same thing we did with the one before. So right around the left side. So about right here, we add in another trapezoid. And it goes just before... Wait a minute. Oh no, I am off. I am very off here. It actually goes about there. We see, that doesn't flow nicely. I don't like how that flows. Oh, well, nothing I can do about that now. Just have to pray and hope. Okay, so add in 5 and a 3. And then we make that go in deeper. Whoops. Yeah, it's looking a tad better. Man, that looks weird. Actually, that seems close to right. Even if it does look a tad bizarre. But I don't like being able to see back in there. So I'm just going to block this whole spot off. Just for the appeal. Come on. Alright, there. There's these little nubs inside that actually help hold the bay together. So I need to add those. It's the exact same type of technique that they actually use on Hot Wheels. I know, because I've taken them apart a couple times just to look at the insides. So I'm guessing that's their way of connecting it. Technically, they're actually easy to access. So I'm actually building that part a tad wrong. But I honestly don't care, because you can't really see the access point from underneath the bay. All you really see are the blue plastic parts there. And that's what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build the small trapezoids. So the next one... It's actually looking more and more like Sword Dran. It actually has 2 swords on it now. It looks kind of bulky on the bottom, though. Maybe I should do that over on the other side as well, because that looks off. That looks really far off. It looks like somebody just ate a taco and went right to the hips. Okay, that's a little bit better. You see, that's what I mean by overcompensation. We overcompensate for the stuff that is we are trying to make, and it just ends horribly. So perhaps I built this just a tad too far. So I'm going to do that real quick, and if I have to, I'll just come back later and delete that last side off. Because, man, that is, that is way too bulky. Now then, the one up there goes right beside it. So that would be... about there. Yeah, let's go with that. And then the last one, it ends right around the eye. So about here. Is that one right? No, that one actually goes outward. So, close that off. And it comes out like a little jab. That's close enough. So I need to extend that just a hair to compensate for that. I feel more like I just made a miniature hurricane. Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. That one should be further down. Yeah, I can just barely see the edge of the frame. So that works. Oh, I'm sorry, frame. Ratchet. People like their technical terms. Frame, ratchet, middle section. If this is the head, and this is the foot, is this the body? I guess we'll never know. We'll never know. Yeah, so let's thicken up this section just a little bit more. And I still need to add in that last trapezoid. Building in Minecraft, it's satisfying, but my gosh, it is time consuming. You do one thing wrong and you got to go right back to basics. It can take you literally weeks to do a single thing that you want to do. And some people, it literally takes them years. Some people just don't have that kind of patience. I do. I don't care. I spent 2 years building a world once. I don't care. I think somebody spent an entire year building a Star Destroyer once. Mine were a lot smaller. His was a full-scale, life-size model. At least I think it took him a whole year. I could be wrong. That being said, though, it was a very impressive build. I would have loved to see it soar. And yet here I am building Beyblades that I'll never get to launch. Mother, can we get some Beyblades? We have Beyblades at home. The Beys at home. It no spin right! Yeah, I need to strengthen that one up a little bit more. So, like that. Yeah, that'll work. And the last one goes right about there. That'll be that little nub I've added on all the sides. Now we just got to add the last trapezoid, which will go actually right where that one started. You see, but then that's a little bit too far. Oh, I see. It's because of you. That's why. That's why my measurements are off. I'm about to sneeze. Ha! Sorry. I don't know where that came from. And then that will go... It's literally right where this one ends, so that's the start of it. And then this one's just a bulky plate. I was looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute, there's all this extra space here. Where'd all that come from? And I was like, oh, that's why. I was trying to figure out where all that space came from. You look way too thin. I don't like how it looks, but I'm going to work on that afterward. I was just trying to get the basic layout of the swords done, which I have done now. It's not beautiful, it's not perfect. I'm still off by a few parameters here. But I assure you, this is actually a lot closer to the full thing now. Even if it looks really bad at the moment. Because there's all this detailing work that I'm going to be putting on top of this, and I'll actually be trimming this down as I go. So all this extra thickness actually serves a purpose, because it'll help me make all this unique design work. If I can even get my camera to focus on it. There we go. There's all this unique design work that I need to make space for, so all this extra thick blocking is going to help with that, because I can trim it down, I can rise it up, I can extend it. This will help me out big time to do just that. Now going back over here, I have one more part. That I need to take care of. What am I doing? I know I need to go further back. What am I doing? What am I... My brain's tripping on me. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to shave off that last side. That one just felt a little bit too big. Well, that's a bit better. Yeah, that looks closer. I like that. I can work with that. And then let's just carve that one off. Put in our little nub. There we go. And let's shave off that side. Because that is a little bit too thick. The ladies in the world being like, you can never be too thick. Thick thighs save lives. Yes. Thick mommy. Oh, absolutely. Mommy thickums. Then there's me. I think we have a tad too much thickness here. Shave it off. I agree. You leave that body alone. What'd it do to you? It became too thick to exist. It became so thick, it stretched the moon out farther. Look at it. It's now 5 feet further away. Come back. Come back, I said. It's gone. Why does that section look funny? Oh, right. That's why it looks funny to me. Do-do-do-do. Boop. There we go. Okay, so in one video, I just got a whole lot closer. I got the basic layout for the swords. I got the 3 small holes that are scattered around the edges of Sword Dran. I got the side trapezoids, the layout for the actual nubs, as I keep calling them. Or I guess you could call them the little contact points on the framework. I don't know what term you want to use. I'm just going to call them nubs. I mean, they look like nubs. They literally look like a small nub. I can't get it to focus right. Come on. You know what? Doesn't matter. It's the small little contact points here that allow it to actually burst. That allow you to hit it in the first place. That's what I'm calling a nub. So I'm going to use a light blue. Or, sorry, cyan. Cyan. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'll use white. Smooth quartz block white. Whatever. So the way this works is, I'm just going to mark this with these so you can actually understand what I'm doing it. These sections right here make the outside of the blades. These sections right here you'll notice that they kind of extend a little bit. So there's a little bit of a curvature. And these just slowly curve around. These sections are actually thinner. These are the thinner sections. But then when you look closely, there's the thicker section that's where all the actual force and shoving comes for the actual weight of the blade. And that goes into play here. And it just casually loops around until all these sections actually meet up again. So these sections are thicker. And it just casually overlaps. Just like that. And then these little parts here that help attach the actual cover for the face bolt, as everybody likes to call it, these parts go inward and then they extend down. And there's a small little dipping when they do this. It's kind of like when you're walking up a hill when they have another slope right there and you could just make a hairpin turn and walk straight up. That's kind of what it looks like. But it dips down and then it levels out with the actual sword. So that's part of why it looks so odd towards the middle sections where it makes contact with the sword, because that's what's going to happen there. And then it's just going to angle back outward toward the blades, just like that. And it's going to do that for literally all the sections. It's literally just going to do that. So that's part of the reason why it looks the way it does right now. But just imagine the edges get trimmed off slightly, the sections where the blue and white line work, imagine that gets raised up. And then the decal work for the actual blades that gives it the unique texture, shaping, all that's going to be on the inside. So this is my current plan right now. I got the basic shaping done. I just got to take it further. I got to trim it down. I got to add in the detailing, but I can do that in the next video. With each video, we are getting closer and closer to the end. It wouldn't surprise me if we actually get it done in the next video. By we, I mean me. You're just viewing. You're viewing all my work and judging every single bad decision I make and every insecurity and bad move, bad add-on, bad thing I'm doing. And you're like, why'd you do it that way? Why'd you do it that way? You should have done it this way. You could have done it better. Decker, what have you done? How dare you massacre my boy? How dare you do Dran like that? Dran took a look at you and he ran. How dare you do him like that? I'm trying. Do or do not. There is no try. Exactly, that's why I'm doing. That's why I'm planning all this out ahead of time. This is why. So I don't do a bad job. Okay? Okay, great. I mean, maybe I could add in a mod pack or two. I don't know if it would actually accept it or not. And even if I did put it in, I don't know if mod packs work for worlds that already exist. I'd have to take a look at that because I've never actually fully messed with that kind of stuff. I'm just now starting to learn how to use mod packs and actually add in mods to my worlds. So I don't fully understand what that would do or how it would work. And if I did, I would like to try to add I believe it was called can't even pronounce it right. It's continuity, something like that, that allows the glass blocks to actually merge so there's no line spacing here. It would make it look a whole lot cleaner, and it would actually allow you to see the full Dran image, which that would be nice. It would be a nice thing to have some clear plastic coating, like on the actual bay itself. It would also make this section look a whole lot cleaner. I mean, we got the basic shape done. We got that all done. It's just those little lines. It's too cubey. I want it to be more smooth. You know? I mean, to be fair, these windows are a whole lot better than the last ones. It was hard to see at times, it really was, but these are nicer. Whoa, Jackson. We're getting closer. Closer and closer each passing day. So I'm going to stop right there because I'm already way over 45 minutes, and that's when I like to end my videos. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked the video, then give it a like. If you want to see more, then please subscribe. And like always, this is Menace Snowdecker signing off, and I will see you next time. Hopefully when we finish our very first BeyBlade. Afterward, I'm going to start building Beat Tyranno, which is going to be a nightmare. Anyways, have a great day, everybody. Don't forget to smile, because remember, a smile a day goes a long way. And I hope to see you all back here again soon. Hey, one more thing before you go. Can you please check out the links in the description below, give them a follow, and join my Discord server as well. And while you're there, why don't you recommend some games for me to play? Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.